Good morning, Emerson. Republican Congress members are beginning to withdraw their support from GOP candidate Donald Trump.
And Emerson employees are taking a trip cross-country for a purpose.
All that and more today, Thursday, October 13th. I'm Sean Stackhouse.
And I'm Claire Gomes. Today, I'll be picking the brain of Alex Eaves, the leader of the reuse movement.
That's going to be an exciting interview. And then later, fashion reporter Juliana Bruno will be here to show us how to be fashionable while still being professional. I think we should be taking notes, Claire.
For sure.
All right, but now for this morning's headline story. More Republican Congress members are beginning to withdraw their support from GOP candidate Donald Trump. 35 Congress members have now said that they will not vote for him, while others demand that he drop out of the race. This backlash came after a 2005 video surfaced of Donald Trump bragging to Billy Bush in an Access Hollywood bus of how he had sexually assaulted women. Yesterday, however, Trump claimed that this drop in support is due to GOP leaders like Paul Ryan not supporting him.
The Republican nominee has a massive disadvantage. And especially when you have the leaders not putting their weight behind the people.
Trump's support has dropped significantly since the release of the video and the second presidential debate. A new Real Clear Politics poll shows Hillary Clinton leading Trump with 48% to 42%. Claire, could this be the beginning of the end for Donald Trump's campaign?
I think so. I think that people are starting to realize that maybe he's not fit to be a presidential candidate.
Well, we'll have to see come a few weeks. But now for more news from around the world, we go to news correspondent Moses Small.
Thanks, guys. There's always a lot going on, and here is what's in the news this morning. Hurricane Matthew swept through the Caribbean last week with winds up to 145 miles per hour, and the damage to Haiti was especially severe. There are an estimated 900 deceased and 500,000 stranded. There's widespread flooding and scares about waterborne disease in Haiti, and need is currently outpacing humanitarian aid. In the United States, the effects are less severe but still devastating. There's flooding in Florida and nearby states and power outages in North Carolina. There are about 24 reported fatalities in the U.S., but over 1,000 have been rescued so far. Florida has moved its voter registration day to October 18th to give more time for those who have been affected. The Toyota Prius was recalled globally on Wednesday. The 2016 and 2017 models have a defect in the parking brake, which led Toyota to pull over 300,000 of them starting this week. Toyota has made a statement clarifying the issue that cars may slide away if left with the ignition on and not in park. This would be Toyota's second major recall in effect this year, as other 2008 and 2012 Toyotas have had issues with airbags. In this most recent recall, owners of the cars will be notified next month, and the repairs for the brakes will be free. In an op-ed column in CNN this weekend, President Obama made a goal to send humans to Mars by the 2030s. The White House is reaching out to private companies like SpaceX and Boeing to design a chamber that can house humans on Mars for extended amounts of time. Obama first made this plan in 2010, and it hasn't gotten much attention since, but NASA has still been working on this project. There are questions as to whether the U.S. has the funding to do this or can even send people to Mars in that time frame. No specific plans or estimates of costs have been given yet, but Obama remains optimistic in his long-term goal to put the first humans on Mars. Closer to home, 2 custodians and a professor from Emerson College are taking a trip around the country to share their experiences as immigrant workers. Custodians Mario Ernesto Osorio and Maria Portillo, along with writing, literature, and publishing professor Tamara Marco, will be leaving on Saturday morning on a trip from Boston to San Diego. They're calling it Proyecto Carrito, which translates to Project Trolley. The project started as a weekly writing class that grew into a multilingual writing course where students write in whichever language they know best. The group will make stops at universities across the country. Their first trip was about 2 years ago, and the goal on their site is to cross physical, social, emotional, and institutional borders. That's all the news I have for you today. Sean and Claire, back to you.
Thanks so much, Moses. Do you think that these employees of Emerson could bring a new perspective back to Emerson when they come back?
I think they can. A lot of what they spoke about in the site was a little-known narrative of the immigrant worker, of the immigrant student, and if they're going around the country spreading that message, I'm for certain that they can definitely make some change.
I think so too. Thanks, Moses.
Thank you.
And now for a weather update for you guys. Today is going to be a little drizzly and wet with a 20% chance of participation and a high of 66. Tonight it's going to be pretty windy and rainy, so it's going to be a good night to stay in with some Netflix. Friday it will be sunny again, but temperatures are going to be a little lower with highs in the 50s during the day and in the low 40s at night. This weekend is going to be picturesque fall weather with highs in the low 60s and lows in the mid 40s both nights. Sean, this is a perfect weekend for me to walk down the Esplanade, which is one of my favorite things to do in Boston in the fall. What about you? Any fun Boston activities planned?
Well, if I'm trying to get the most out of this fall experience, I would most likely go outside of Boston, maybe try to go up to New Hampshire, my home state, and see if I can go to maybe a haunted corn maze or go apple picking. Just the very typical fall weekend.
Sounds awesome to me, Sean. When we come back, I'll be sitting down with the leader of the reuse movement.
And find out which teams have clinched a spot in the next round of the MLB playoffs. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Good Morning Emerson. I'm joined by Alex Eaves, who is the leader of the reuse movement. Thanks so much for being in studio with us.
Thanks for having me.
So just tell us about the movement. What is it? What do you guys do?
So first of all, I'm not the leader, I would say a leader, more spokesperson for the reuse movement. And basically, I'm just trying to get people to go back to where my parents and my grandparents grew up in. You know, the 1960s came along and all these convenient single-use plastics and disposables came along, and then people needed to find a waste solution for that. And so for years, recycling has been that solution. But what I'm out here to do with my movie and my apparel brand and everything is to let people know that, you know, recycling's great, but reusing is even more effective, and it benefits people, benefits the planet, and it benefits our wallets too.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned the movie and the apparel brand. Can you tell us a little bit about both of those?
Sure. So it all started with the apparel brand. I used to travel around the world selling merchandise for bands, and it was during that time that I saw mass amounts of production and then destruction of t-shirts, and I wanted to find some kind of solution for that, so I started restyling t-shirts that were going to be discarded for whatever reasons. And over time I just got really, really passionate about reuse and started selling travel mugs and not using any disposables in my life. And then somebody came along and said, hey, you should make a movie or a TV show. And I was like, you're crazy, because I didn't go to some awesome school like this. You know, I was a journalism student at Northeastern and never thought I would make a movie, but one thing led to another, and I traveled to all 48 states and filmed people in different ways that reuse and made a movie.
That's awesome. Where can we find this movie? Is it already out? Is it coming out soon?
So online, it's at reusedocumentary.com. You can download it there, but locally on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, there's a big, huge reuse convention in town. It's called Reuse Connects, and I'll be doing a free and open public screening. It's at the Somerville Holiday Inn, Bunker Hill, in the ballroom, and it's at 7 p.m. So
That's
you guys can all come check it out.
And is that the same as the Reuse Expo that you
Yeah,
mentioned?
so it's part of the Reuse Connect. So it's, you know, all of the big figureheads of the reuse movement will be schmoozing during the day, and then each night there's a different event, and so Tuesday night is my movie.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What are some ways that college students, we all live in dorms or in off-campus apartments, sometimes it can be a little tough for us to know how to reuse. So what are some tips you would give to us?
Well, one of the easiest, and having gone to school in Boston too, is, you know, going to thrift stores, you know, because when you move into a place, like, why do you need new stuff at IKEA that's going to break in, you know, less than a year? Or why do you need new clothes or new this, new that? And one thing I'm seeing as I travel around the country and visiting a lot of schools is they have like a leave and take kind of a room. I don't know if Emerson has anything like that, where at the end of the year, you know, if people have a micro fridge or a microwave or clothes that they don't want, they just leave it in that room. And then, you know, the following year, the kids come in and then they can pick and choose.
I know I've gotten a pretty good haul in some of those pick and choose days for sure.
Yeah, and it keeps so much out of the dumpster and saves so much money, because, you know, a lot of the, you know, kids are coming in and just can't afford these things.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for being here, Alex. I'm so excited to learn more about the movement and see the movie and everything.
Awesome.
All right, Augie Van de Veer is in studio and has the latest in sports news.
Thanks, guys. Here's all the top news from the sporting world. The Chicago Cubs have defeated the San Francisco Giants Tuesday to advance to the NL Championship Series. The Cubbies overcame a 5-2 ninth-inning deficit to defeat the Giants in an epic 13-inning battle. The Cubs are now 4 wins away from their first NL championship since 1945 and 8 wins away from their first World Series win since 1908. And with this comeback victory, momentum is on their side. But perhaps breaking such a long curse should give them pause. Not many franchises have made losing so marketable. They've almost made it their style, but I guess the lovable losers are set on spoiling all that. Pity. Colin Kaepernick, in news recently for his protests against racism and police violence, will be starting his first game of the season against the Bills. The change came after the 49ers' 33-21 loss to the Cardinals in Week 5. Coach Chip Kelly said the offense needed a jump start after boasting a 31st ranked offense through 5 weeks. Kaepernick's protests have opened him up to criticism from a wide range of critics, the newest addition being Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who called the protests dumb, disrespectful, and arrogant. This will be Kaepernick's first start since November 1st of last year, and poor play may give his critics opportunity to heap on even more. Kaepernick will make his start next week against the Bucs. The WNBA finals are tied at a game apiece. Let's look at some highlights. Game 1 ended with this great buzzer beater by Elena Beard. Fantastic. Let's take another look at it. The concentration to finish through all that contact. Wonderful. And there's the pass up to Gueke for the layup. And there's Sparks guard Tolliver. Nice step back move and finish. There she is faking out the defense again. These highlights are a bit misleading. She ended the game 3 of 14. The bench getting into it. But it was the Lynx's night with Maya Moore doing the cross-court, full-length pass to Lindsay Whalen. She ended the game with a game-high 21 points and 13 rebounds, even up the series. Athletes are speaking out against Donald Trump's characterization of his leaked tape as locker room talk. Brandon Jennings and C.J. McCollum, among other professional athletes, tweeted out their thoughts during the debate, flatly denying that that kind of talk exists in their locker rooms. And LeBron did not mince words when he was asked about it in a preseason press conference.
What is locker room talk to me? That's not what that guy said. We don't disrespect women in no shape or fashion in our locker room. That never comes up, you know. And I got a mother-in-law, a wife, a mom, a daughter, and those conversations just don't go on in our locker room. But that guy was saying that's not, I don't know what that is. That's trash talk.
Tom Brady, on the other hand, declined to comment on Trump's comments, simply thanking the reporters and leaving. Bad luck for the guy who last year described Donald Trump as a good friend and hoped he'd won the election. Brady, unlike LeBron, has backed away from both candidates, saying he does not know what the issues are and declining to say who he will vote for this November. Well, that's all I've got from sports today. Back to you guys.
Well, Augie, I hope that Tom Brady does do some research before Election Day. But now we are going to send it over to Emerson Buzz reporter Kate Nelson, who has an update on the changes happening in Emerson's Office of Housing and Residence Life.
Good morning, Emerson. I'm Kate Nelson with your Emerson Buzz segment team. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about the proposed housing for next year. Due to the fact that the little building is going to be renovated, we're running out of space for people to live. One of the proposed housing units for students is off campus in the Fenway area. We're going to take a trip down there to check it out and see what's happening. We took the T 3 stops from the little building and got off at the Heinz Convention Center over by Fenway. Right to my left is Boston Conservatory. There's a lot of life happening down here, as you can tell. Plenty of places to eat, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, there's a rice bowl over there, and generally feels like a pretty nice neighborhood to live in. We're about to head inside with you to see if we can check out some of the new dorms. We did some exploring and ended up here in what could be a proposed common room space. It's very spacious, very cozy, fully carpeted. Should be a nice place to hang out, get some homework done, hang out with some friends, maybe throw in a microwave somewhere and make some popcorn. So we decided to check out some of the living spaces. There are 16 on each floor, 64 altogether, and if some of them are doubles, that'll be 120 beds for students here. It's a pretty nice room, got a great view, desk space, bed space. Right now it's set up as a quad, but knowing Emerson, it would probably be set up as a double. You got a closet right behind there. it's a cozy environment. It's a cozy environment. We got a carpeted floor all around, and it feels good in here. Recently, there have been a few protests regarding the off-campus housing down in Fenway, and so we decided to ask some of our students how they felt about the protests, whether they supported them, whether they didn't support them, and just to get a general vibe of how students were feeling about this new housing unit. So what do you know about the new housing proposed for next year?
Well, I was walking down the street the other day, and there are about 5 people outside the Emerson College of Admissions, and they were trying to protest that Emerson was building new houses in the Fenway area.
I saw some people protesting. Yeah.
I think Emerson should be able to expand throughout the city.
As long as, it's not a hassle for anyone to get to and from school, I don't really see a problem with it.
I'm paying for housing to be at Emerson. I'm paying for housing to be on campus where I can access the dining hall and access the library and go to my extracurriculars without any problems.
If they asked you to take the T 2 or 3 stops, would you be okay with that to get to class in the morning?
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. It's what sports teams have to do currently, right? So I guess it's not that big a deal. I would like to be close, but, sometimes you just can't help it.
I mean, being a commuter student is being a commuter student, and then being on campus is being on campus, and that kind of messes it up, I think.
After checking in with some Emerson students, the response we received was pretty mixed. Many students don't know much about the proposed housing. Many students are against it. Some are very excited for it. We hope that our segment was helpful in your understanding of what the new housing unit could be like and its potential. So if you were placed in a housing unit down in Fenway, how would you feel about that next semester?
Pissed.
Fenway seems a little far away from campus, but it would be interesting to have other housing out in the city.
Thanks for listening to the Emerson Buzz. I'm your segment host, Kate Nelson.
This week, a new Nate Silver poll revealed that if only men voted, Donald Trump would win this year's presidential election.
This sparked Trump supporters to use the hashtag Repeal the 19th in support of not allowing women to vote. So for Roundtable today, we are discussing whether this is something that could actually gain some traction, or are these just sexist voters? So we'll start with you, Moses. What are your thoughts?
I think this is definitely more of a cultural issue than a political one. This certainly isn't something that would ever pass if it was brought to legislation, but it does reveal a pretty deep divide in this country and issues and conversation that we still need to have.
I agree, and I think it shows how devoted Trump supporters are. If nothing else, his campaign definitely has that loyalty, that presence. I saw a couple women tweeting that they would give up their right to vote just if Trump could win, and that's some fierce loyalty right there.
Yeah, completely. I think it shows that the Trump supporters are just completely decided at this point, and they'll go along with anything he's saying.
Off of that note, do you think that this maybe swayed some people who were decided or undecided?
I think the issue is here, this is a movement that has really been started by supporters as opposed to Trump himself. So I don't think that he is going to lose any traction for saying something like that in such a sexist nature, but I think that if his voters start tweeting and using the hashtag more and more, it could become more relevant. Not that it was actually going to happen, though. I think we can all safely say that the 19th Amendment will not be repealed.
It won't, and if you search the word repeal on Google, repeal the 19th is the first thing that comes up. And so I think in conjunction with the other stuff that's happened with Trump recently, with the tapes, of course, it could be a bit damaging to his campaign.
Do you think his campaign has already been damaged enough by those comments, Ruby?
I think so, but I still think the people that are decided are still going to vote for him, but I think it could possibly dissuade some of the undecided voters.
Some of the undecided voters, most famously Ken Bone from the second presidential debate, said that he still hasn't made a decision, but for other undecided voters, could a hashtag like this really deter them from voting for Trump?
I think so. I think that they might think that this isn't just his supporters' opinion, but his opinion. If he doesn't speak out against this, some people who are undecided might go with Hillary.
Definitely.
I agree.
Now, only time will tell come mid-November when we actually do vote. Do you think that this is something that is going to cause women to not actually go to the ballot, to submit their ballots?
I think that maybe a small number of people may. I know, Claire, you mentioned that some women have stated their intent to do that. I think the numbers will be small, but they'll be very broadly publicized. So maybe one post might get 1 million retweets on Twitter or something like that, but I don't think it's going to become common enough to really make a difference.
I definitely hope not. Everyone should be going out and voting, making sure their voice is heard. And we can't really rely on these polls, I think, with such a tumultuous campaign like this, where something new is happening every week. I think these polls might be a little hard to rely on. Sean, what do you think?
They definitely are, and there's so many different polls. As we've already mentioned, 2 different ones in the show so far between Nate Silver and RCP. So it'll be interesting to see which poll is the most accurate come November.
I agree. All right. I think we need to take a break from all this Trump talk, a commercial break, that is. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Good Morning Emerson.
Ruby Vishnik is here to update us on the latest entertainment news.
Thanks, guys. Here's today's top entertainment news stories. The Today Show was missing a familiar face on Monday morning. Billy Bush was absent from the NBC morning show after the program suspended him. The suspension is pending further review due to his involvement with Donald Trump in a 2005 videotape in which the GOP presidential candidate graphically discussed groping women whilst being egged on by Bush. The show briefly addressed their third-hour host's involvement with this story during their coverage of Sunday's second presidential debate. Though the coverage did not overtly mention Bush at first, the tape itself was a major part of the night's debate topics. Shailene Woodley is speaking out for the first time after being arrested in North Dakota for trespassing in peaceful protest at a construction site for the North Dakota Access Pipeline. 26 other people were also arrested. In an Instagram post on Sunday afternoon, the actress continued her fight against the deconstruction of the Dakota Access Pipeline.
She was down there, everybody was down there. Left. I'm being arrested. I was down there with everybody else. I don't know what's going on. As soon as they came, I left.
She was released on Monday from Morton County Jail. James Charles has been crowned the first cover boy for CoverGirl Cosmetics. The Instagram famous aspiring makeup artist already has more than 400,000 followers after 1 year. His account showcases numerous styles of makeup looks, including his signature Galaxy style. It's no wonder that his unique and daring style got him Katy Perry's full support. Perry took to Instagram to share her excitement about this event, writing, "Just wrapped another great CoverGirl shoot. Honored to have the pleasure to announce the very first cover boy, James Charles." This is a large step in the beauty community. CoverGirl is blazing the way to destroying gender binaries. Makeup is now and never has been just for women. It's been over a week since Kim Kardashian was robbed at gunpoint in Paris. Kim is now back home in Los Angeles recovering from the traumatic experience, and her family is now speaking out about the attack. On Tuesday, Khloe Kardashian appeared on the Ellen DeGeneres show and revealed that Kim is not doing that well.
Tell me how Kim is doing. I'm sure everybody here is wondering. Tell us.
I mean, she's not doing that well. I mean, it's incredibly traumatic what happened to her, but our family is super close and great, and we'll get through it together. And we do appreciate all your guys' love and support.
Like so many other fans, all of us here at GME are sending out love and support to Kim. I'm Ruby Vishnik, and that's it for entertainment this week. Now back to Sean and Claire at the demo table.
Thanks, Ruby. We are certainly sending our wishes to Kim K. But here with us this morning is fashion reporter Juliana Bruno. Juliana, what do you have for us?
So today I'm going to talk about how to dress for an internship. Internships are very important to people at Emerson, so it's important to dress professionally but still incorporate your personal style.
Awesome.
So show us a couple of your go-tos for internships.
Great. So a great way to combine both your style and professional look is to take something like a button down with a sweater and combine it with a funky skirt, like a leather skirt or a bright blue, to kind of just show that you're ready to work, but also that you still have personal style and you're chic and you're young and fun.
Very true.
Yeah, it's important to show off your personality as well and to stand out a little bit. There's going to be a lot of interns at every internship that you're at. Definitely important to make a statement.
Yeah, of course. Making a statement shows that you're enthusiastic and excited to be there. So another way to do that is with your footwear. So you can see I have these pewter-colored Oxfords. You're not going to see many people with shoes like that. I got these from Macy's, not as cheap as these ones from Forever 21, but they're sturdy and they're going to last you through your whole internship.
Now, I gotta say, I am actually a huge fan of these. If they came in my size, I would wear them in a heartbeat.
Yeah, totally. So men's footwear too. Oxfords are a great choice. Another way guys can kind of show their personal style is wear a bright color. A lot of guys wear the same blue, black, gray suits. Exhibit A. So if you wear a bright, funky tie or something, that'll really make you stand out.
Awesome. What are some other suggestions you have for making yourself stand out just a little bit from the crowd?
Okay, so dressing professionally is really important. It's important to not wear anything too revealing, not just for the sake of the people around you and to look professional, but also just so that you're comfortable. You want to be able to do anything that's asked of you. So a great way to do that is you're going to wear a skirt. Tights are a great option. These were $5 from Forever 21. These ones are black, but they come in so many different colors and patterns. So tights are a great way to wear these things that you like, but still be professional and clean looking.
Nice. You mentioned that it was only $5. Shopping for an internship can be so demanding on my wallet. Do you have any other stores, any suggestions for some cheaper internship options?
Yeah, of course. Primark is a great resource. It's right in downtown Crossing. It's so close and so cheap. I have some jewelry here that I paired with these outfits, these bracelets, a fun spiky necklace. Those were both from Primark. I got them both on sale.
Amazing.
Yeah, Primark really is incredible where they have something for everyone. Now these shoes, would we be able to find something like that at Primark as well? I know that I've only gone for ties and shirts there. Are they that versatile?
Well, personally, I tend to lean toward Forever 21 for my shoes. Primark does have shoes, but the selection at Forever 21 is much larger. It's also in downtown Crossing, so you can go grab your jewelry at Primark and your shoes at Forever 21.
Amazing. And just tell us, what are some internship definite no-nos?
So a definite no-no for an internship would be to wear something too casual or too formal. You have to find that fine line. So that's why I choose to wear something like a button-down with a more funky skirt, because you can kind of combine the two. Another no-no would be to wear uncomfortable shoes.
Oh, yeah. Great
all right.
suggestion.
Well, great advice from Juliana. Thank you so much for joining us. That's all the time that we have today.
Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend, and make sure to tune back in on Tuesday.